Yesterday we learnt that the Sky Blues losses are now running at £500,000 a month. Here's a breakdown of what emerged from the news conference given by the club's New Look board at the Ricoh Arena yesterday.
The main things that came out of the media press conference held by Sisu and the new board at the Ricoh Arena yesterday are that the club is definitely not for sale. £1 million investment was made into the club on Monday, and that staves off administration till at least the end of the season. Ray Ranson, the former chairman, is gone, and after saying he was staying on as a football consultant at the club, he has now left the club, and he only told Sisu that an hour before the actual press conference began. The Brighton training ground has now been remortgaged for £1 million. That means the club have no physical assets. And also the new chief executive has been confirmed. That's Paul Clouting. He's been brought in and has previously been commercial director at Ipswich and also the operations director at Derby County. Sisu say they're meeting the council on Friday to discuss issues around owning part of the Ricoh, but the council quickly issued a statement to say there was no meeting arranged. I did speak to George Duggins, the deputy leader. He said they wouldn't be averse to discussing with Sisu a buyout of their share if Sisu's finances are checked out and it's a viable business option.
Well, that's kind of a summary of where we are, and you mentioned the man mentioned in that report there, Paul Clouting, the club's new chief exec, joins us live on the show this morning. Paul, welcome to the programme. Thanks for being with us.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Difficult to know where to start, isn't it? I'm looking at the Coventry Telegraph this morning. They've got kind of one headline that says not for sale, and then 6 sub-headlines, and they've got pages 4, 5, 62, 63, the back page. There's a lot to talk about. Where do you plan to start, Paul?
Well, I guess the reality of where we are after what we said yesterday, Shane, is clear. We've talked about, and you've been sort of running this morning, the club's not for sale, the club isn't going into administration, those types of things. But actually, from a general point of view, one of the big challenges we have as a football club is getting ourselves off the front pages, because what we're talking about here is the football club and something that is followed by supporters and has been followed for many years, and with the heritage of the club and all that type of thing. And for me, that's one of the top priorities. If we get ourselves off the front page of newspapers by doing the right types of things and get ourselves onto the back page of newspapers where people want to read about us, then we'll go some way towards getting us to where we need to be.
So presumably £500,000 a month losses is one of the first things you want to tackle, is it?
Well, look, it's if you look at the economy of football clubs, Shane, in the Championship, and I'm sure you've been in other parts of the country and had sort of similar conversations, you'll know that the economy of football clubs in the Championship are not good. The majority lose money, and that's not necessarily because they're poorly run, but people have ambitions for the club to be successful, and it can be a bit of a game of players come for sale and you spend money and all that type of thing. But what is absolutely clear is that type of model isn't sustainable, and if you continue to run that model year after year, the business will struggle and potentially go into administration and all the horrible things that will follow with that. And when you're looking at Coventry City Football Club and 7 points clear of relegation zone and 10-point deductions and all that type of thing, one of the key things we were that we put in place before the new board came into existence was to make sure that the club wouldn't go into administration. I see apparently I haven't seen the Telegraph this morning, but HMRC swoop on club and that type of thing. We don't. The HMRC did come to the football club, but we don't owe HMRC any money. So
is it fair to say you came close to administration, though? I mean, that's a fair point, isn't it?
Yeah, it is a fair point, Shane. And one of the things that we said yesterday at the board meeting is what we will try to be is as open, honest, and transparent as we can be. Which is why we said we came very close to administration. There are clearly confidentialities that we'll never be able to share, and a business wouldn't. But we met with supporters at the stadium last night and shared with them our view of the football club, our view of the vision of the football club, and they were supportive of one, the fact that we'd actually sat with them and talked to them, but secondly, of what we were saying to them.
And I think fans really appreciate that, don't they, that transparency. But then on the other hand, I mean, you are talking about trying to attract investment to the club, and already this morning, in the short time that we've talked, you said, look, football is a rubbish business to invest in. We're losing £500,000 a month, and, we've come close to administration. I can't imagine many investors queuing around the block, can you?
Well, it's one of the reasons that we want to talk, and you ran a trailer about the City Council. It's one of the reasons that it's important for us to talk to the City Council. I'm actually seeing them on Saturday at the game.
About the ground?
Correct, because businesses need assets, but I think it's also important to reflect. When you talk about £500,000 a month and those types of figures, it also, CISU have been, and the owners have been sort of knocked around and a bit beaten up over the course of events. But what it does reflect is the amount of money that they have already invested into the football club, and continue to invest into the football club. So, as I said, stage one was make sure that we could prevent doomsday, and stage two then talk to investors. But you're right. One of the things about for me about investments is that people will want to know what they're investing in, and is it a loan, is it equity? But all of those types of things will come out when we talk to and are talking to potential investors at the moment. We're in advanced negotiations with potential company. So, at that stage when we have something to say, we will do. But as you will understand, businesses in this type of situation, kiss a few frogs before we sort of find the right type of people, because what is absolutely important, and I hope the City Council, ACL, and also people, and actually our supporters will say this, it's important to do the right thing for the football club, because that's ultimately what we're talking about, not individuals. This is Coventry City Football Club.
What are you going to say to the council? What are you looking for? I mean, we were just speculating. I don't know if you heard earlier, I was talking to John, who's a football finance expert, and I was just saying, look, this is not a good time to ask any council across the country for any kind of favours, or can you let an asset that you have go cheap? What are you looking for, Paul, when you're going to talk to the council with regards to the ground?
We, as I hope they will just come with an open mind, and we'll have the conversations with them, and we will see where they lead. I hope that those conversations could be good conversations, because the one thing that the club recognises is that maybe we've had sort of the bunker mentality of sitting and shutting the doors and hoping things will that any bad news or in fact it's been bad news more recently. Bad news will pass the club by. So we want to have conversations with the council and supporters and trusts and those type of things to make sure that we can have really good relationships with these types of people.
Final point, and it comes through on a text actually from M in Coventry this morning, says, what happens to Coventry City Football Club after May? Do they go into administration then?
Well, day one, for me, was yesterday, but there are a couple of things really. Day one was all about how do you secure this existing season. We're now into day two, So what we're seeking to do is to obviously go forward and have conversations with people to make sure that the future of the football club is secure.
Paul, I'll let you go. You've got a lot to do. Thanks for joining us on the show this morning.
Thanks, Shay.
Appreciate your time. Paul Clouting, their new chief exec at Coventry City Football Club, joining us on The Breakfast Show.